Shalom, heroes and Hebrews. Welcome to the channel. This is Oilfield Disciple, aka Pastor Matt. We're going to be reading 1Kings17 today. And so get your Bibles out and follow along with me, or when I flip the camera around here pointing forward, you can watch the windmills go round and round. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the little bell icon to get notified when I do new videos. You can go back in my archives and look up any one of my videos, and if you like the content, please subscribe. And so let's get the camera flipped around here. Windmills and wind. We got pump jacks, jackrabbits, and windmills here in New Mexico. Well, where I live anyway. All right, 1 Kings chapter 17. Now we just began with King Ahab and Jezebel, and we're going to be introduced to Elijah here. And Elijah, a pretty powerful prophet. And so let's see what the Lord would have for us today. Chapter 17, verse 1 says, And Eliayhu, that's Elijah, Eliayhu the Tishbite of the settlers of Gilead, said to Ahab, As Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, lives, before whom I stand, there shall be no dew or rain these years, except at my word. And the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, Go away from here, turn eastward, and hide by the Wadi Kereth, which flows into the Jordan. Now, Wadi is a seasonal river. It's a Wadi could be a dry riverbed, or in certain seasons it will have water. So there'll be so he's here at this seasonal river, the Kereth, and it flows into the Jordan. And it shall be that you drink from the stream, and I shall command the ravens to feed you there. And he went and did according to the word of Yahweh, for he went and dwelt by the Wadi Kereth, which flows into the Jordan. All right, now there's several things we can draw from that there, that Yahweh will provide for us in certain seasons. Just like this Wadi, the dry riverbed, seasonal river, only flows during certain times. And what's interesting here is no dew or rain will fall these years. Yet God, Yahweh, has water flowing through this dry river. Now, a lot of times we read by this stuff and we don't catch it. What I can draw from that is there are seasons in our life where we're dry. There's no rain, there's no dew in our life. We're spiritually just maybe frustrated, or spiritually we just, man, I haven't heard from God. What's going on? When God moves, it doesn't matter if things are all lined up in our physical world. The water's still going to flow for us, the living waters. We have to trust God sometimes. It's like me being the business owner of the motel. I have had families over the past year who have lost everything due to the COVID pandemic. And me and my wife, blessed by having this motel, have been able to house and put roofs over the heads of some of these families at no cost to them. At times it would get frustrating for us because we struggle to pay the bills because of this pandemic. Yet Yahweh always provides. Yahweh makes a way when there seems to be no way. Kind of like this river here flowing that normally would only flow during the rainy seasons. Yet he sends Elijah, his prophet, to the river and supplies him with water, and then sends ravens to supply him with bread that we're going to learn about here. There are certain seasons when Yahweh will do this for us. But we got to be in line with Yahweh in order for this to be this way. But also, he's going to send, and we're going to see all this in this chapter, he's going to send people around us sometimes that maybe we'll be like this old widow lady we're fixing to read about. And the reason, like I said, I don't ever really go forward through these chapters and read ahead, but this is one of the chapters that I'm highly familiar with because my brother, who endured a year of cancer and then finally passed on, this is one of his favorite chapters that he would read, and he would talk about his ravens and how people stepped up and helped him when he was in need. And this one, so I'm very familiar with this chapter. So, seasons of drought and seasons that Yahweh will supply. Verse 5, and he went and did according to the word of Yahweh, for he went and dwelt by the Wadi Kireth, which flows to the Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening, and he drank from the stream. And it came to be after a while that the stream dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. Then the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, rise, go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and dwell there. See, I have commanded a widow there to sustain you. All right. There'll be times and seasons in our life that God will call us to stand still. Be still. Just let me nourish you. Let me protect you. Let me guide you. Let me equip you. Let me get you ready. But then God's going to say, go and do. And that's when we got to be ready to say, yes, Lord, and go and do. Regardless of how ridiculous it may sound, regardless of, hey, this wasn't my plan. All right. So he tells him, all right, water's dried up, ravens ain't coming back. You better get to moving. But I got another plan for you. Then the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, rise and go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and dwell there. See, I commanded a widow there to sustain you. And he rose up and went to Zarephath. And he came to the gate of the city and saw a widow there gathering sticks. And he called to her and said, please, bring me a little water in a vessel to drink. And as she was going to get it, he called and said to her, please, bring me a piece of bread in your hand. Now, this is customary in this culture in this time. When a stranger would come up, you would give them something to eat and you would give them something to drink. This was customary. It wasn't like today where you're traveling and you just go knock on somebody's door and say, hey, I'm thirsty and hungry. They're going to slam the door in your face. This is customary. And she said, as Yahweh, your Elohim lives, I do not have bread, only a handful of flour in a bin and a little oil in the jar. And see, I'm gathering a couple of sticks and go to prepare it for myself and my son, and we shall eat it and then die. All right, so she has nothing. And so she's decided, I'm going to eat my last meal, last supper with my son, and we're going to lay down, starve to death, and die. Now, take that as into account to our own life sometimes. God isn't here. God hasn't helped me. I'm just going to lay down and die. It's not what we're called to do. Now, take and draw from this, from what Elijah does, being obedient, doing what God says, taking a season and a time to allow God to nourish him, and when God says go, he goes. Now, draw from the woman here. This woman she doesn't give up on everything. Notice she says, Yahweh, your Elohim, hasn't given me nothing. All I got left is this one deal, now I'm going to die. How many times do we get in that attitude, in that mode spiritually? God ain't helping me. I prayed and prayed and prayed, and nothing happened. God has a plan. You just got to be willing to walk through the door when he opens it. And Elijah, verse 13, said to her, do not fear. Go and do as I say, but make me a small cake first, and then bring it to me. And afterward, make some for yourself and your son. For thus saith Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, the bin of flour shall not be used up, nor the jar of oil run dry until the day Yahweh sends rain on the earth. All right, now it's going to take a little faith, because this stranger, this man, just says, hey, go make me a cake. Make me first. Feed me first. And then Yahweh, Elohim, will make sure that your flour never runs out and your oil never runs dry, and you'll be able to eat and drink until the Lord changes the season again. And so she went and did according to the word of Eliayhu, verse 15. And she said, and she and he and her household ate many days. And the bin of flour was not used up, nor did the jar of oil run dry. Supernatural cause and ability of Yahweh that we always love to dismiss. Yahweh has to bless us financially, or there's no other way for him to bless us, right? I mean, that's the attitude of most people. If God don't send me $100, I can't do this. Maybe God's just going to make sure you don't run out. I've actually experienced this in my own life. Verse 17, and after these events came to be, the son of the woman who owned the house became sick, and his sickness was severe, very severe, until there was no breath left in him. And she said to Eliayhu, what have I to do with you, O man of Elohim? Have you come to bring my crookedness to be remembered and to kill my son? All right, now she's brokenhearted. Where's Yahweh in all this? You know, I mean, he fed us, but now he lets my son die. God must hate me. I just made a video on this a little bit earlier. I wasn't even thinking and correlating that these two were going to run together. Verse 19, and he said to her, give me your son. And so he took him from her arms and took him to the upper room where he was dwelling, and laid him on his own bed. And cried out to Yahweh and said, O Yahweh, my Elohim, have you also brought evil on the widow with whom I sojourn to kill her son? And he stretched himself out on the child 3 times and cried to Yahweh and said, O Yahweh, my Elohim, I pray, let the life of this child come back to him. And Yahweh heard the voice of Eliayhu, and the life of the child came back to him, and he lived. And Eliayhu took the child and brought him down from the upper room into the house and gave him to his mother. And Eliayhu said, see, your son lives. And the woman said to Eliayhu, now, by this I know that you are a man of Elohim, and that the word of Yahweh in your mouth is truth. Yahweh is going to operate the way Yahweh wants to operate. Sometimes he will do supernatural events to get people's attention. Sometimes he will let you go through some trials to get your attention. As we read through that story, there's so much to draw from and apply it to be applicable to our lives. Each of our lives, whether you're spirit-filled, walking in Yahweh hand in hand, or you're just coming in anew. But the actions of that woman can be applied to us in different areas of our spiritual life, seasonals, different seasons in our life. Yahweh can do something great in our life. Just bam, man, there ain't no way I can explain it other than God did that. 10 minutes later, your tire's flat, you spill your coffee, and now you're all bent out of shape, pissed off because Yahweh didn't help you. You forget so easily. And I say this because I've been there. Trials and the tribulations. It took her son dying, and the pain of seeing that, and the realization that my son's dead, to break her down. And then the life returning to the child made her understand God is truth. And it's going to be all right, regardless of your circumstance and situations. You feel me? We may not understand while we're at the river, waiting, doing nothing. We may not understand why, but God does. He sees the big picture. We may not understand when he says go. And we begin walking. What's coming next? You know, can you imagine walking up to a lady you don't know and saying, hey, give me something to drink. And while you're at it, give me something to eat. And she says, I ain't got nothing but one last meal for me and my child, and we gonna die afterwards. And you say, I don't care. Give me something to eat. That would be, I mean, you really got to trust that God told you to do something. But we got to learn to hear God first. We got to be in tune with the Spirit in order to understand when it's God telling us these things. God could have just sent Eliayhu with a a band of people full of food and give it to her. I mean, I'm sure she's been praying to Yahweh for a time as she's seen the flour running out and the oil running dry. She's praying to Yahweh that maybe she's not sure of or is really there or not, regardless. And here comes the prophet. Whatever form God sends us for help is what we got to be ready to accept and take and move on. It may not be the help we want, but it's the help we need. And see, there's a big difference in that. You know, as I've helped families over the past year, and I've been helped myself, there's many that want you to do it a certain way. I want you to help me this way. Well, this is the help I have for you. And this is the help I'm going to give you. You can either receive this or you can go home. But many people want to tell you how they need help. Well, you're in need because there's a certain reason you're in need. And you need that outsider to help you because he's got a different perspective, a different outlook. Anyway, I hope you might go back through that story, read it again, that account. Read it again and draw from it what is all there. I mean, I could spend hours drawing different scenarios and solutions and applications for our lives just from that one chapter. I'd spend hours doing so. I mean, I have. You know, me and my brother discussed that one over and over and over again, and just getting a myriad of applications to our lives. And that's the glory of reading the scriptures, is you never know from one day to the next what you read, how it's going to apply to your life. That's why it's the living word. So y'all be blessed, be encouraged, and always be frustrated. This is Oilfield Disciple, and I will catch y'all on the next reading.